Ladies and gentlemen, I know why you are here. You are not here merely for information. You are not here to add another technique to your collection, another method to your pile of things that have not worked. No, you are here because something has not worked. You are here because you have tried, you have visualized. You have repeated affirmations until your voice grew and your mind grew weary. You have done what the books told you to do, what the teachers promised would bring results. And yet when you woke this morning, the world looked very much the same as it did yesterday. The circumstances that troubled you still troubled you. The lack that haunted you still haunted you. And somewhere deep within, a small voice whispered something you did not want to hear. It whispered that perhaps this does not work for you. Perhaps you are different. Perhaps you lack the faith or the discipline or some secret ingredient that others possess and you do not. I want you to hear me now and hear me clearly. You have not failed. You have simply been looking outward for what can only be found within. You have been seeking the kingdom in the wrong direction, and tonight we are going to change that, not by adding to your burden of techniques, but by lifting it entirely, by revealing to you that the power you have been searching for is already operating within you, has always been operating within you, and has only been misdirected. Like a mighty river that has been dammed and diverted into swamps, your creative power has been flowing into channels you did not choose, producing harvests you did not intend. Tonight we redirect that river. Tonight we remove the dam. Tonight you learn to use the door that has always been open, the door you walk through every night without knowing what you carry through it. But before I show you how this is done, you must understand why you are here and what this teaching truly offers. Because what I am about to share with you is not like the things you have heard before. It is not positive thinking. It is not the power of intention. It is not a technique you perform for 20 minutes a day and then forget. What I am about to reveal is the law that governs all things, the law that operates in your life whether you believe in it or not, the law that has been shaping your world since the moment you were born. And this law has a secret so simple that most people overlook it entirely. The secret is not what you think during the day. The secret is not how many times you repeat your affirmations. The secret is not the vividness of your visualizations. The secret is what you feel in the last moments before you fall asleep. You see, the subconscious mind is not what most people think it is. The teachers of the world have taught you to think of it as a computer, a machine that must be programmed through repetition and effort. They have told you that if you say something enough times, the subconscious will believe it. They have told you that willpower and discipline are the keys. But I tell you now, this is not how the subconscious works. The subconscious is not a machine. The subconscious is a lover. She does not respond to commands. She responds to feeling. She does not care what you say. She cares how you feel as you say it. And the reason your techniques have not worked is not because you lack discipline or faith. The reason is that you performed them in the wrong state. You performed them in the state of wanting, in the state of hoping, in the state of trying to convince yourself of something you did not actually feel. And the subconscious, your faithful lover, received your feeling of wanting and reproduced it perfectly as more wanting, more hoping, more lack. Tonight we change this. Tonight you learn the one truth that contains all others. You learn that the moment of maximum power is not during your morning meditation or your evening visualization. The moment of maximum power is in the seconds before you fall asleep. When the conscious mind releases its grip on the world, when the door between the waking state and the subconscious opens wide, in that threshold moment, whatever feeling you hold becomes an instruction. Whatever you feel yourself to be becomes a seed planted in the most fertile soil imaginable. And that seed will grow. It will grow whether you intend it or not. It will grow into circumstances, into events, into the very fabric of your tomorrow. This is why I titled this message as I did. This is not about programming your subconscious through effort. This is about impressing your subconscious through feeling, through the feeling of the wish fulfilled, through the natural quiet sensation of already being what you desire to be, already having what you desire to have. And when you learn to hold this feeling as you cross the threshold into sleep, you will have discovered the master key that unlocks all doors. You will have found the pearl of great price. And 2026 will not be something that happens to you. It will be something you create night by night, feeling by feeling, until the inner becomes the outer and your imagination becomes your world. Now, let me tell you a story. Let me paint for you a picture that will stay with you, that will help you understand what happens each night, whether you know it or not. Imagine a gardener who tends a great field. All day long, this gardener works with tremendous care. He studies the soil. He reads books about the best seeds. He prepares his rows with precision, measuring the distance between each furrow, ensuring that everything is perfect. He selects the finest seeds he can find, seeds for flowers and fruits and vegetables that will nourish his family. All day he works, and all day he takes great pride in his careful preparation. But here is what the gardener does not know. Here is the secret that no one has told him. The soil of his field during the daytime is ordinary soil. It will grow what he plants, but slowly, with effort, with much tending and watering and waiting. But there is another soil, a secret soil that exists in the darkness of night. This soil is 1,000 times more fertile than the soil of day. Whatever is dropped into this soil grows instantly, powerfully, inevitably. And each night as the gardener stumbles home exhausted from his labors, he passes through this fertile ground without knowing it. And in his exhaustion, in his anxiety about whether his careful planting will bear fruit, he drops seeds from his pocket without noticing. These are not the seeds he selected with care. These are the seeds of worry, of fear, of doubt, of frustration. They are the weeds and thorns and bitter herbs of his unconscious feelings. And because this nighttime soil is so much more powerful than the soil of day, these unconscious seeds grow faster and stronger than anything he planted deliberately. The gardener wakes each morning and returns to his field only to find it choked with weeds. He cannot understand it. He did everything right. He followed the instructions. He worked so hard. But the harvest mocks his efforts, and he does not know, he cannot see that the true planting happened in the darkness. In those moments when he was not paying attention, when he carried his fears and doubts through the fertile ground of night, my friend, you are this gardener. Your conscious mind, your waking self, is the one who plans and prepares and selects with such care. But your subconscious mind, the deeper self that rules your world, is the fertile soil of night. And the seeds you drop into that soil are not your affirmations, not your visualizations, not your carefully crafted intentions. The seeds are your feelings. The seeds are the emotional state you carry as you cross from waking into sleep. If you cross that threshold feeling worried about tomorrow, you have planted worry, and worry will grow. If you cross feeling frustrated by today, you have planted frustration, and frustration will multiply. If you cross feeling the lack of what you desire, you have planted lack, and lack will flourish in the soil of your subconscious. But here is the good news, the wonderful news, the news that changes everything. You can choose what seeds you carry. You can choose what feelings you hold as you approach the fertile ground. You can deliberately, consciously select the feeling of the wish fulfilled and carry it with you across the threshold into sleep. And when you do this, when you plant the seed of fulfillment in the rich soil of the subconscious, it will grow just as surely as the weeds grew before. But now it will grow flowers, now it will grow fruit, now it will grow the very circumstances you have desired. This is the secret the gardener needed to learn. This is the secret you are learning now. The most important moment of your day is not the morning, not the afternoon, not the busy hours when you are striving and working and trying. The most important moment of your day is the last moment before you sleep. What you feel in that moment is what you plant. What you plant is what you harvest. And you have been planting unconsciously, blindly for your entire life. Tonight you begin to plant with purpose. Let me deepen this for you now. Let me show you the sacred mystery that underlies this law. In the scriptures, there is a teaching about the male and the female becoming one flesh. Most people read this as a teaching about marriage between two people, but I tell you this is a teaching about the marriage within yourself, the union of your conscious and subconscious minds. The conscious mind is the male, the one who selects, who chooses, who decides. The subconscious mind is the female, the one who receives, who conceives, who gives birth. And every night, in the act of falling asleep, these two are wed. The male, the conscious mind, turns from the outer world of sense and seeks its beloved within. And the female, the subconscious, waits for her husband. She waits to receive whatever he brings to her. Now, here is the beautiful and terrible truth about this inner bride. Unlike the woman of the world who sometimes marries her husband hoping to change him, the subconscious has no desire to change the conscious mind. She loves you exactly as you feel yourself to be. She accepts you completely without judgment, without argument, without resistance. Whatever feeling you bring to her, she receives as a gift. Whatever you feel yourself to be, she believes. And out of this belief, out of this acceptance, she conceives. She becomes pregnant with your feeling, and in time she gives birth. The children of this union are not infants of flesh and blood. The children are the events of your life, the circumstances you encounter, the conditions of your world. They are your children born from the womb of your own subconscious, made in the image and likeness of the feelings you brought to the marriage bed. Do you see now why your circumstances have been what they are? Do you see why the same patterns repeat in your life? You have been giving your beloved the same feelings night after night, year after year. You have been impregnating the subconscious with the same fears, the same doubts, the same sense of lack and limitation. And she, faithful lover that she is, has given you children in the likeness of these feelings. She cannot do otherwise. It is her nature to reproduce what she receives. She does not question whether the seed is good or bad, beneficial or harmful. She simply receives and conceives and brings forth. But tonight you bring her a different gift. Tonight you approach the marriage bed with intention. Tonight you carry in your heart the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the feeling of being the person you want to be, the feeling of having the life you want to have. And when you give this feeling to your subconscious bride, she will receive it with the same faithfulness she has always shown. She will conceive, she will bring forth. And the children she bears will be children of fulfillment, children of joy, children of abundance. Now let me share with you something more intimate still. Let me tell you about an experience that changed everything for me. There came a night many years ago when I had studied all the teachings, when I had practiced all the techniques, when I had done everything the books told me to do. And yet I lay in my bed frustrated and defeated because nothing had changed. The circumstances of my life remained stubbornly the same. I began to wonder if perhaps I was not meant for this, if perhaps I lacked some essential quality that others possessed. And in that moment of despair, something shifted. I stopped trying, I stopped forcing, I stopped attempting to command my mind into belief. Instead, I simply asked myself a question. I asked, how would I feel if this thing I desire were already done? Not how would I visualize it, not how would I affirm it, but how would I feel in the core of my being if it were already accomplished? And as I asked this question, lying there in the darkness, I felt something stir. It was not a visualization. It was not a picture in my mind. It was a feeling, a subtle sense of relief, of satisfaction, of quiet contentment. It was the feeling of having rather than wanting. It was the feeling of being rather than trying to become. And as this feeling washed over me, I realized something profound. The techniques had never been the point. The affirmations, the visualizations, the repetitions, they were all just attempts to reach this feeling. But I had been so focused on the technique that I had missed the target entirely. The feeling was the target. The feeling was always the target. And once I had the feeling, the technique became unnecessary. That night I fell asleep holding that feeling, not forcing it, not straining to maintain it, but simply resting in it as one rests in warm water. I did not clutch at it desperately. I did not fear that it would slip away. I simply felt it as naturally as I felt the bed beneath me, and I let myself sink into sleep. When I woke the next morning, the outer circumstances of my life had not yet changed. The same walls surrounded me. The same problems awaited me. But something inside me had shifted. I felt different. I carried with me a quiet certainty that I had not possessed before, and in the days that followed, things began to move. Opportunities appeared that had not existed. People reached out who had been silent. Paths opened that had been closed. It was as if the world itself had rearranged to conform to the feeling I had planted in the subconscious. I share this with you not to impress you, but to impress upon you this truth. The feeling is everything. The technique is only valuable insofar as it produces the feeling. And once you understand this, you can dispense with the elaborate methods and go directly to the source. You can ask yourself each night as you prepare for sleep, how would I feel if my wish were fulfilled? And when you find that feeling, when you capture it and hold it, and let it be the last thing you experience before crossing the threshold into sleep, you have done the only thing that truly matters. You have planted the seed that grows worlds. Now I wish to speak to you about something that may seem strange at first, but which I ask you to receive with an open mind. I wish to speak to you about your future self. The self you will be at the end of 2026 if all goes as you desire. This self exists right now, not as a possibility, not as a potential, but as an actual state of consciousness in the infinite mind of God. You see, creation is finished. Everything that could ever be already is. Every version of you that you could ever become already exists. The abundant you, the fulfilled you, the joyful you, the successful you, all of these selves exist right now in the great tapestry of consciousness. And the year you call 2026 is not something that will be created when the calendar turns. It already exists in infinite variations waiting for you to select which variation becomes your experience. I have seen this in the deep states of meditation in the threshold moments between waking and sleeping. I have encountered the future self who has already lived what I was only imagining. And this encounter changed my understanding entirely, for the future self did not give me advice. He did not tell me what steps to take or what decisions to make. He simply radiated a feeling, the feeling of one who has arrived, the feeling of one for whom the struggle is over, the feeling of naturalness and peace and quiet satisfaction. And then he spoke, though not in words as the outer world knows them. He spoke in the direct communication of consciousness to consciousness. And what he said was this: you do not become me by doing different things. You become me by feeling as I feel now. The distance between us is not time. The distance is feeling. When you feel as I feel, you are where I am. And when you feel it tonight, we will be closer. And when you feel it every night, without fail, without doubt, we will be one. This is the secret of time. This is the mystery of the future. You do not travel to 2026 through the slow passage of days. You travel to 2026 through the instant transportation of feeling. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a picture of the future. It is the future experienced, now in the only moment that exists, the present. When you feel as you would feel in the fulfilled 2026, you are there. You have selected that state from among the infinite states that exist, and having selected it in consciousness, having occupied it in feeling, you have made it yours. The outer world must conform. It has no choice. For consciousness is the only reality, and the outer world is its shadow. This may seem too good to be true. It may seem too simple, too easy. The mind that has struggled for years wants there to be more to it. The mind that has worked so hard wants to believe that effort is necessary, that complexity is required. that only through great striving can great results be achieved. But I tell you, the kingdom of heaven is within you, and it is found not through effort but through surrender, not through striving but through assuming, not through the noise of activity but through the silence of feeling. Let me now unfold for you the deeper understanding of what I have been teaching. Let me explain the nature of this subconscious self that you are learning to impress. The subconscious is not merely a part of your mind. It is the creative power of the universe operating through you. It is what the scriptures call the Father within, the one who does the works. When Jesus said, "I can of mine own self do nothing," the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. He was speaking of this relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind by itself has no power to create. It can only select, only decide, only choose. The actual creation, the bringing forth of circumstances from the invisible into the visible is the work of the subconscious. And this subconscious Father sees you exactly as you feel yourself to be. It does not see your words. It does not see your actions. It does not even see your thoughts, except insofar as they generate feeling. The subconscious sees your feeling, your emotional state, your sense of being, and it says, "This is what my child believes itself to be. This is what my child feels. I will make it so in the outer world." It does not argue. It does not resist. It does not say, "But you are not wealthy. How can I make you wealthy?" Or, "But you are not healthy. How can I make you healthy?" The subconscious simply accepts the feeling you give it and begins silently and invisibly to rearrange the circumstances of your world to match that feeling. This is why feeling is everything. This is why the elaborate techniques mean nothing if they do not produce the feeling. You could visualize for hours every day, but if your visualization does not move you to feel as you would feel if it were real, it will accomplish nothing. You could repeat affirmations until your voice fails, but if the repetition does not touch your heart, if it does not shift your feeling, it is just noise. The subconscious is not impressed by words. The subconscious is not impressed by pictures. The subconscious is impressed only by feeling, by that deep sense of reality, by that quiet conviction of already being or already having. Now, what is this feeling I keep speaking of? Let me be very clear, because this is where many people become confused. The feeling I speak of is not excitement. It is not enthusiasm. It is not the thrill of anticipation. These are the feelings of wanting, of hoping, of looking forward to something that is not yet here. The feeling I speak of is quieter than this. It is the feeling of having rather than wanting. It is the feeling of being rather than becoming. It is the feeling of naturalness, of something so completely possessed that it no longer generates excitement because it is simply part of you, simply part of your life. Think of something you already have, something so ordinary and familiar that you never think about it. Perhaps it is the chair you sit in, or the shoes you wear, or the name by which people call you. You do not get excited about these things. You do not hope for them. You do not visualize having them. They are simply yours so completely and naturally that they generate no emotion at all, only a quiet sense of possession of reality of isness. This is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the feeling you must capture and hold as you fall asleep. Not the excitement of getting, but the peace of having. Not the thrill of becoming, but the naturalness of being. How do you find this feeling? You ask yourself a question. You ask, how would I feel if it were already done? If my wish were already fulfilled? If 2026 had already passed and brought me everything I desired? How would I feel right now in this moment? And as you ask this question, you let yourself answer not with thoughts, but with feeling. You let yourself sink into the sensation of having, of being, of already possessing. It may come quickly, or it may come slowly. It may be vivid, or it may be subtle. But when it comes, you will know it. You will know it because it feels different from wanting. It feels settled, complete, at rest. And once you have found this feeling, your task is simple. Hold it. Not with effort, not with straining, but with gentle persistence. Let it be the background of your consciousness as you relax into sleep. If your mind wanders to problems or doubts, gently bring it back to the feeling. Not to a picture, not to an affirmation, but to the feeling itself. And as you cross the threshold from waking to sleeping, carry the feeling with you. Let it be the last thing you experience before unconsciousness claims you. This is the seed you plant in the fertile soil of the subconscious. This is the conception that will grow into the circumstances of your life. Now, let me address a confusion that troubles many people. They say, "But how can I feel that I have something when I do not have it? How can I feel wealthy when my bank account is empty? How can I feel healthy when my body is sick? How can I feel loved when I am alone?" Isn't this just self-deception? Isn't this just pretending? And I answer, no, it is not pretending. It is recognizing the truth about imagination. Imagination is not a second-class reality. Imagination is the primary reality. The world you see with your physical eyes is a shadow, a reflection, an outpicturing of the world you create with your imagination. When you feel something in imagination, you are not pretending to feel it. You are actually feeling it. The feeling is real, the sensation is real, the experience is real. The only thing that has not yet appeared is the outer confirmation. But the outer confirmation must come because the outer world is the servant of the inner world, the shadow of consciousness, the faithful mirror of imagination. So when you assume the feeling of wealth, you are not pretending to be wealthy. You are being wealthy in the only place where wealth truly exists in consciousness. And when you are wealthy in consciousness, the outer world must reflect that wealth. It cannot do otherwise. When you assume the feeling of health, you are not denying the evidence of your body. You are asserting the supremacy of consciousness over matter, and consciousness always wins because consciousness is the cause, and matter is only the effect. When you assume the feeling of love, you are not ignoring your loneliness. You are filling that loneliness from within. And as you fill it from within, the without must change to match. This is the law of assumption. To assume is to accept as true, regardless of evidence. It is to feel as you would feel if a thing were so, even though your senses tell you it is not so. And the promise of the law is this: an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Read those words again. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The assumption does not need to be true when you begin. It does not need to be supported by evidence. It only needs to be felt, and it only needs to be persisted in. If you will assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption, the wish will be fulfilled. The outer world will conform to the inner assumption. This is law. This is not opinion or theory or hopeful thinking. This is the law that governs all creation. But there is a word in that promise that many people overlook. The word is persist. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Persistence is essential. A single night of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled may plant a seed, but seeds need time to grow. A single moment of occupying the state of fulfillment may shift something within you, but the shift needs reinforcement to become permanent. You must persist. Night after night, you must return to the feeling. Night after night, you must plant the same seed, not with anxiety about whether it is working, but with the quiet confidence of a gardener who knows that seeds grow in their own time. You do not dig up the seed each morning to see if it has sprouted. You trust the soil, you trust the process, you trust the law. And here is the secret of persistence. It is not the length of time that matters, but the frequency. 5 minutes of genuine feeling repeated every night is more powerful than an hour of straining once a week. The subconscious is impressed by repetition, by the frequent occupancy of a state, by the habitual return to a feeling. It is the frequency, not the duration, that makes it natural. And when it becomes natural, when the feeling of the wish fulfilled is as familiar as the feeling of your own name, the manifestation cannot be far behind. Now, I wish to share with you another dimension of this teaching, a dimension that concerns the past. You have learned that the future is selected in consciousness, that by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you choose which version of 2026 becomes your experience. But I tell you now that the same law applies to the past. The causes of your present limitations are not only your current feelings, they are also the unread feelings of the past. Every disappointment you accepted as real, every failure you dwelt upon in feeling, every wound you nursed and nurtured, these have been seeds planted in the subconscious, and they continue to bear fruit in your present. But the past is not fixed. The past exists in consciousness, and consciousness can be changed. This is the art of revision. To revise is to go back in imagination to a scene that did not go well and to replay it as it should have been. To feel in imagination the scene unfolding differently, successfully, beautifully. To experience the satisfaction that should have been yours. This is not denial. This is not pretending the painful thing did not happen. This is redemption. This is forgiveness. This is the pruning shears of revision that give us our prime fruit. When you revise a scene of the past, you are not changing what happened in the outer world. What happened happened, but you are changing the feeling you hold about it. You are releasing the emotional charge that has kept the pattern alive. You are planting a new seed in place of the old one. And as this new seed grows, as the revised feeling takes root, the future that would have been shaped by the old pain is transformed. The pattern is broken. The cycle is interrupted. You are free. I encourage you as preparation for your sleep tonight to practice revision on the year that is ending. Think of the disappointments, the failures, the moments when things did not go as you wished, and one by one revise them. Replay them in imagination as they should have been. Feel the satisfaction, the success, the joy that should have been yours. Do not dwell on the original pain. Do not rehearse it again. Simply replace it with the revised version. And when you have done this, when you have pruned away the bitter fruit of the past, you will be ready to plant the sweet seeds of the future. Let me now give you the practice itself. Let me tell you exactly what to do tonight and every night hereafter to impress your subconscious with the feeling of your fulfilled 2026. This practice is simple. It has been complicated by teachers who wanted to seem sophisticated, who wanted to add layers and techniques and special methods. But the practice itself is as simple as falling asleep, because that is exactly what it is. Falling asleep in a particular way with a particular feeling. First, in the hour before sleep, begin to prepare your mind. Do not consume things that disturb you. Do not watch the news. Do not engage in arguments. Do not fill your mind with anxious content. Let the waters of your consciousness grow still. If the day contained unpleasant events, practice revision now. Replay them as they should have been. Release them. Do not carry unrevised pain into the marriage bed. Second, when you lie down to sleep, lie flat on your back with your head level with your body. Allow your body to relax completely. Feel the bed beneath you. Feel the weight of your limbs sinking into the mattress. Let go of tension. Let go of holding. Breathe naturally without forcing, and allow yourself to drift toward that drowsy state that exists on the edge of sleep. You know this state. You have experienced it every night of your life. Though you may not have noticed it, it is the state where the body is heavy and the mind is light. It is the state where thoughts become fluid, where imagination becomes vivid, where the door between worlds stands open. Third, in this drowsy state, ask yourself the question, how would I feel if 2026 had already gone exactly as I desire? How would I feel right now lying here if everything I wanted had already come to pass? And let yourself answer with feeling, not with thought. Sink into the sensation. Let it wash over you. If it helps to have a scene, choose a brief one that implies the fulfillment of your wish. Perhaps you see yourself at the end of 2026 looking back with satisfaction. Perhaps you hear a friend congratulating you on your success. Perhaps you simply feel the quiet contentment of one for whom everything is worked out. But do not get lost in the visualization. The visualization is only a means to the feeling. Once you have the feeling, the visualization can fade. The feeling is what matters. Fourth, hold this feeling gently as you drift towards sleep. Do not clutch at it. Do not strain to maintain it. Simply rest in it as you rest in the bed. If your mind wanders to problems, gently bring it back to the feeling. If doubts arise, let them pass like clouds and return to the feeling. And as you cross the threshold from waking to sleeping, let the feeling be your companion. Let it be the last thing you experience before consciousness gives way to unconsciousness. This is the practice. This is all you need to do. And if you do it tonight, you will have planted a seed. And if you do it tomorrow night, and the night after and the night after that, you will have planted a garden. And in time, that garden will bloom. The circumstances of your life will shift. Opportunities will appear. People will behave differently. Paths will open. And you will know beyond any doubt that you are the operant power, that you are the creator of your world, that imagination is the only reality, and that feeling is the secret. Now let me speak to you about something important. I want to address the doubt that may arise in your mind, the voice that says this cannot be so easy, there must be more to it. I understand this voice. I heard it in my own mind for many years. The voice of the world that has taught us that struggle is necessary, that effort is required, that nothing worth having comes without sweat and strain. But I tell you, the voice is wrong. The kingdom of heaven is not taken by force. It is received by feeling. The promise is not earned by effort. It is accepted by assumption. Yes, there is a kind of effort involved, but it is not the effort of doing. It is the effort of being. It is the effort of assuming and persisting, of feeling and trusting, of returning again and again to the state of the wish fulfilled. This is a different kind of effort than the world teaches. It is an effort of attention, of focus, of gentle persistence. But it is not the effort of struggle. It is not the effort of force. It is the effort of surrender, of letting go, of allowing the subconscious to do what only the subconscious can do. The world has taught you that you must make things happen. But the truth is that you must let things happen. You must assume the feeling and let the subconscious bring it forth. You must plant the seed and let the soil do its work. The gardener does not make the seed grow. The gardener provides the conditions for growth and then trusts the process. This is your role. You provide the feeling. You hold the assumption. And then you trust the subconscious, your beloved, your inner partner, to bring forth the harvest. There is another objection that may arise. The voice that says, but what if I assume the wrong thing? What if I choose incorrectly? What if my wish, if granted, brings me unhappiness instead of joy? And to this I say, you are wiser than you know. The deepest desires of your heart are not random. They are not accidents. They are the way your inner being calls you toward your destiny. When you desire something truly and deeply, it is because that something belongs to you, is meant for you, is part of your path. Trust your desires. They are not your enemies, they are your guides. And even if you do assume something that later proves to be less than you hoped, you will have learned something invaluable. You will have learned that you can assume. You will have learned that your assumptions do harden into fact. You will have proven to yourself that the law works. And with this knowledge, you can assume again, assume differently, assume more wisely. No assumption is permanent. No state is a prison. You are always free to assume again, to shift your feeling, to choose a different state. This is your birthright as the operant power of your world. Let me share with you something else, something that concerns the world you will create. When you begin to use this law consciously, when you begin to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and see it manifest in your world, you will naturally want to share this with others. You will want to help them, to teach them, to lift them from the suffering that you have escaped. And this is a beautiful impulse. But I must warn you, not everyone will hear. Not everyone is ready to hear. Many will resist what you have to say. Many will cling to their belief that struggle is necessary, that the world is fixed, that they are victims of circumstance. Do not argue with them. Do not try to convince them. Simply live your truth. Let your life be the testimony. When they see what you have become, when they see how your circumstances have transformed, some of them will want to know how, and then you can share. But only with those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. The greatest gift you can give the world is not your teaching. It is your transformation. When you are transformed, when you are living from the state of the wish fulfilled, you become a beacon. You become a possibility that others can glimpse. You become proof that the law is real, that change is possible, that imagination is indeed the only reality. This is how the world is lifted. Not through argument or persuasion, but through example, through demonstration, through the shining light of transformed consciousness. Now, let me return to you, to your specific situation, to the year that awaits you. You are standing at a threshold. The year 2026 stretches before you like an unwritten book, like a garden not yet planted, like a child not yet conceived. And tonight you have a choice. You can cross into sleep as you have always done, unconsciously, accidentally carrying whatever feelings happen to dominate your mind. Or you can cross consciously, deliberately carrying the feeling of the wish fulfilled, planting the seeds of the life you desire. The choice is yours. It has always been yours, but now you know. Now you have been shown the door. Now you understand what happens each night as you cross the threshold into sleep. You can never unknow this. You can never unsee this door. Every night for the rest of your life as you approach sleep, you will remember this teaching and the question will arise, what feeling am I carrying into the subconscious tonight? What seed am I planting in the fertile soil of my beloved? I cannot make this choice for you. No one can make it for you. The law is completely impartial. It will grow whatever you plant with equal faithfulness, whether it be weeds or flowers. But I can encourage you. I can remind you of what you truly are. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of circumstance. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are the author of fate. You are not a beggar at the gates of heaven. You are the king for whom the gates were made. And the kingdom, the full kingdom with all its treasures and wonders is within you, waiting to be claimed, waiting to be assumed, waiting to be felt into reality. And so, as this message draws toward its close, let me leave you with this tonight. When you lay your head upon the pillow, remember what you have learned. Remember that you are not going to sleep as a passive victim of whatever tomorrow may bring. You are going to sleep as the active creator of your world. The feeling you hold in these final moments before sleep is your vote for the life you will live. Choose it well, feel it fully, and trust the deeper self to do the rest. You are not hoping for 2026, you are selecting it. You are not wishing for change, you are assuming it. Assumption persisted in becomes fact. This is law, this is truth, this is the sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let that feeling be your companion as you cross the threshold. Let it be the last thing you know before the subconscious receives you. And when you wake tomorrow, carry the feeling with you into the day. Return to it again and again, reinforce it, strengthen it. Let it become so natural, so familiar, so much a part of you that it no longer requires effort to maintain. This is how assumptions harden into fact. This is how imagination becomes reality. This is how you, the operant power, create the world of your choosing. The year 2026 is not something that will happen to you. It is something you will create night by night, feeling by feeling, assumption by assumption. The power is in your hands. It has always been in your hands. Now you know how to use it. Go now to your sleep. Go with intention. Go with the feeling of the wish fulfilled burning quietly in your heart, and watch what happens. Watch as the world rearranges itself to conform to your assumption. Watch as opportunities appear where there were none. Watch as people behave in ways that serve your vision. Watch as circumstances shift, as doors open, as paths unfold before you. And when this happens, you will know. You will know with absolute certainty that imagination is the only reality, that feeling is the secret, and that you are the god of your own world. I have given you the key tonight, a key that has been given to seekers throughout the ages, though few have understood it and fewer still have used it. Now it is yours. Guard it well, use it wisely, share it with those who are ready, and know that as you use it, you join a great company of awakened souls who have discovered the truth hidden in plain sight. That heaven is within you, that the kingdom is here and now, and that the only barrier between you and your fulfilled desire is the feeling you hold as you cross the threshold into sleep. Good night, my friend. Good night and good creation. May the feeling of your wish fulfilled be your companion through the night. May your subconscious receive it with the faithfulness of a perfect lover. And may your 2026 be everything you imagine it to be and more and beyond what words can say. For imagination is infinite. And you, the one who imagines, are infinite too. If these words have stirred something within you, if you feel even a glimmer of the truth I have spoken, then I invite you to return here. Leave a note below if you feel moved to share what you will assume tonight. Press the button that tells others you found value here so that those who are seeking may find their way. And if you wish to go deeper to hear more of these teachings, then subscribe not out of obligation, but out of resonance. I will be here speaking as I have always spoken to the one who is ready to hear. The door is always open. The teaching is always available, and the power is always within you waiting to be claimed. Go now. The night awaits. And within that night, the seed of your new year is ready to be planted. It is done. It is wonderful. And it is yours. But wait, before you go, let me deepen this teaching further. For I sense there are some among you who have understood intellectually, but have not yet grasped it with the heart. Let me tell you another story. A story that will make this truth burn within you like a fire that cannot be extinguished. There was once a man who discovered a treasure buried in a field. It was the most magnificent treasure imaginable, containing wealth beyond measure, the answer to every need, the fulfillment of every desire. The man looked at this treasure, and he knew that it was real. He saw it with his own eyes. He touched it with his own hands, and then strangely, impossibly, he buried it again. He covered it over with the same earth that had hidden it before, and he walked away. Why did he do this? Because he thought he needed to earn the right to possess it. He thought he needed to become worthy of it first. He thought he needed to prepare himself, to purify himself, to make himself deserving. And so he spent years working on himself, improving himself, struggling and striving to become the kind of person who could deserve such a treasure. Meanwhile, the treasure sat buried in the field, waiting, always waiting for him to simply claim it. This is what many of you have been doing with the power I am teaching you tonight. You have glimpsed it. You have felt its reality. And then you have buried it again, telling yourself that you are not ready, that you need to learn more, that you need to practice longer, that someday when you are more spiritual or more disciplined or more worthy, you will claim it. But I tell you, the treasure is yours now. The power is yours now. You do not need to become worthy of it. You do not need to earn it. It is your birthright as a child of God, as a being made in the image and likeness of the creative power itself. Way things work whether anyone believes it or not. Sleep well tonight. Sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let that feeling be your companion as you cross the threshold. Let it be the last thing you know before the subconscious receives you. And when you wake tomorrow, carry the feeling with you into the day. Return to it again and again. Reinforce it, strengthen it. Let it become so natural, so familiar, so much a part of you that it no longer requires effort to maintain. This is how assumptions harden into fact. This is how imagination becomes reality. This is how you, the operant power, create the world of your choosing. The year 2026 is not something that will happen to you. It is something you will create night by night, feeling by feeling, assumption by assumption. The power is in your hands. It has always been in your hands. Now you know how to use it. Go now to your sleep. Go with intention. Go with the feeling of the wish fulfilled burning quietly in your heart, and watch what happens. Watch as the world rearranges itself to conform to your assumption. Watch as opportunities appear where there were none. Watch as people behave in ways that serve your vision. Watch as circumstances shift, as doors open, as paths unfold before you. And when this happens, you will know. You will know with absolute certainty that imagination is the only reality, that feeling is the secret, and that you are the god of your own world. I have given you the key tonight, a key that has been given to seekers throughout the ages, though few have understood it, and fewer still have used it. Now it is yours. Guard it well, use it wisely, share it with those who are ready, and know that as you use it, you join a great company of awakened souls who have discovered the truth hidden in plain sight. That heaven is within you, that the kingdom is here and now, and that the only barrier between you and your fulfilled desire is the feeling you hold as you cross the threshold into sleep. Good night, my friend. Good night and good creation. May the feeling of your wish fulfilled be your companion through the night. May your subconscious receive it with the faithfulness of a perfect lover. And may your 2026 be everything you imagine it to be, and more and beyond what words can say. For imagination is infinite. And you, the one who imagines, are infinite too. If these words have stirred something within you, if you feel even a glimmer of the truth I have spoken, then I invite you to return here. Leave a note below if you feel moved to share what you will assume tonight. Press the button that tells others you found value here so that those who are seeking may find their way. And if you wish to go deeper to hear more of these teachings, then subscribe not out of obligation, but out of resonance. I will be here speaking as I have always spoken to the one who is ready to hear. The door is always open. The teaching is always available. And the power is always within you waiting to be claimed. Go now, the night awaits. And within that night, the seed of your new year is ready to be planted. It is done. It is wonderful. And it is yours. But wait, before you go, let me deepen this teaching further, for I sense there are some among you who have understood intellectually, but have not yet grasped it with the heart. Let me tell you another story, a story that will make this truth burn within you like a fire that cannot be extinguished. There was once a man who discovered a treasure buried in a field. It was the most magnificent treasure imaginable, containing wealth beyond measure, the answer to every need, the fulfillment of every desire. The man looked at this treasure and he knew that it was real. He saw it with his own eyes. He touched it with his own hands, and then strangely, impossibly, he buried it again. He covered it over with the same earth that had hidden it before, and he walked away. Why did he do this? Because he thought he needed to earn the right to possess it. He thought he needed to become worthy of it first. He thought he needed to prepare himself, to purify himself, to make himself deserving. And so he spent years working on himself, improving himself, struggling, and striving to become the kind of person who could deserve such a treasure. Meanwhile, the treasure sat buried in the field, waiting, always waiting for him to simply claim it. This is what many of you have been doing with the power I am teaching you tonight. You have glimpsed it, you have felt its reality, and then you have buried it again, telling yourself that you are not ready, that you need to learn more, that you need to practice longer, that someday when you are more spiritual or more disciplined or more worthy, you will claim it. But I tell you, the treasure is yours now. The power is yours now. You do not need to become worthy of it. You do not need to earn it. It is your birthright as a child of God, as a being made in the image and likeness of the creative power itself. Stop waiting, stop preparing, stop telling yourself that tomorrow you will begin, that next month you will take it seriously, that after the holidays you will really dedicate yourself. Tonight is the night. This very evening as you lay your head upon your pillow is the moment when everything changes. Not because you have finally become worthy, but because you have finally claimed what was always yours. Let me tell you about the state akin to sleep. This threshold state I have spoken of, for it deserves more attention than I have given it. This state has been known by mystics throughout all ages. It is the state in which visions are received, in which prophetic dreams are born, in which the barriers between worlds grow thin and permeable. In the scriptures, it is called the deep sleep that fell upon Adam. It is the trance that came upon Peter on the rooftop. It is the night vision that appeared to Paul. This state is not unconsciousness. It is a different kind of consciousness, a deeper consciousness, a consciousness in which the limitations of the waking mind are suspended, and the powers of the subconscious become available. You enter this state every night whether you know it or not. For a few moments as you transition from waking to sleeping, you pass through this threshold. Usually you pass through unconsciously without noticing, without using the tremendous power that is available in this state. But the mystics learned to linger in this threshold. They learned to maintain awareness even as the body grew heavy and the rational mind grew quiet. And in this state they discovered that thoughts become things almost instantly. Imagination becomes reality with unprecedented speed. The distance between inner and outer collapses. This is the state you are learning to use tonight. This is the state in which your assumption of the wish fulfilled will be impressed upon the subconscious with maximum power. Some call it the hypnagogic state, the state just before sleep. Others call it the alpha state, referring to the brainwave pattern that characterizes it. I simply call it the state akin to sleep, the threshold, the door between worlds, and I encourage you to become familiar with it, to recognize when you are in it, to learn to linger there while holding the feeling of your fulfilled desire. How do you know when you are in this state? The body feels heavy, as if it were sinking into the bed. The mind feels light, as if thoughts were floating rather than marching in rigid formation. Images may arise spontaneously, unbidden, strange combinations of memory and fantasy. There is a sense of boundary dissolution of the lines between self and world, growing soft and blurry. You are not quite awake, not quite asleep. You are in between, in the threshold, in the doorway of the subconscious. When you find yourself in this state, hold your feeling. Do not analyze it. Do not question it. Do not try to improve it or perfect it. Simply hold it, rest in it. Let it be the entire content of your consciousness. And then, gently allow yourself to drift deeper, to cross the threshold, to fall into sleep, while still wrapped in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the art. This is the practice. This is what you will do tonight and tomorrow night and every night until the feeling becomes so natural that you wear it like a second skin. Let me speak now about a common obstacle that many face in this practice. The obstacle is doubt. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and then a voice arises in your mind saying, "This is ridiculous. This cannot possibly work. You are just pretending, just fooling yourself, just playing a childish game of make-believe." And this voice can be so loud, so insistent, so reasonable sounding that it drowns out the feeling and returns you to the state of wanting rather than having. I want you to understand something about this voice of doubt. It is not your enemy. It is not trying to hurt you. It is simply the voice of your old conditioning, the voice of all the beliefs you have absorbed from a world that does not understand the law I am teaching you. This voice was trained by years of experience in a world that seemed solid and fixed. A world where things did not change simply because you felt them differently. The voice is trying to protect you from disappointment. It is trying to save you from what it perceives as foolishness. But the voice is wrong. The voice is operating from false premises. It does not know about the subconscious and its creative power. It does not know about the law of assumption. It does not know that feeling is the secret. And so when you hear this voice, do not fight it. Do not argue with it. Simply acknowledge it and return to the feeling. Say to yourself, I hear you, but I am testing this law for myself. I am going to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and see what happens. I am going to plant this seed and watch it grow. This is the attitude of the scientist. Test and observe. This is the attitude of the mystic. Assume and experience. You do not need to believe with unshakable faith before you begin. You only need to be willing to experiment, to test the law in your own experience, to assume the feeling and see what manifests. And when the first manifestation comes, when you see the first evidence that your assumption is hardening into fact, the voice of doubt will grow quieter. With each subsequent manifestation, it will grow quieter still, and eventually it will fall silent entirely because it will no longer have any ground to stand on. Your own experience will have proven it wrong. Now let me address another question that arises in many minds. The question is this: should I tell others what I am doing? Should I share my assumption with friends and family? Should I announce my intention to the world? And my answer may surprise you. No. Keep it secret. Guard your assumption as you would guard a treasure. Do not expose it to the doubts and skepticism of others. Here is why. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are planting a seed in the subconscious. This seed is tender and young. It needs protection while it takes root. It needs the darkness of secrecy in which to germinate. If you expose it too soon, if you announce your assumption to others who do not understand, their doubts and questions and skeptical glances can act like frost on a young plant. They can kill the assumption before it has a chance to take root. This is why Jesus said when he performed healings, "Tell no one." It was not because he was being secretive for no reason. It was because he understood that the manifestation was still young, still tender, still needing protection from the doubts of the world. Only after the assumption has hardened into fact. Only after the manifestation is complete and visible and undeniable is it safe to share, and even then share only with those who are ready to hear. Share only with those who will celebrate your victory rather than try to explain it away. So tonight, when you assume the feeling of your fulfilled 2026, keep it between you and your subconscious. Let no one else into this intimate chamber. Let no one else's energy enter the sacred space where you are conceiving the children of your future. This is your private work, your secret practice, your personal relationship with the creative power within you. Honor it with silence. Let me tell you about the importance of persistence from another angle. Many people try this practice once or twice, and when they do not see immediate results, they conclude that it does not work. They give up. They return to their old ways of hoping and wishing and struggling, and they never discover the truth that was within their grasp. I tell you, the law always works. The law cannot not work. If you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption, the assumption must harden into fact. It is as certain as the law of gravity. But just as an apple does not fall from the tree the instant you think about gravity, the manifestation does not appear the instant you feel the wish fulfilled. There is a time process involved. The seed must germinate. The crop must grow. The harvest must ripen. This time process is not evidence that the law has failed. It is evidence that the law is working. The delay between assumption and manifestation is not an obstacle. It is an opportunity to deepen your assumption, to strengthen your feeling, to make your occupation of the state more complete and more natural. Use the time wisely. Do not spend it doubting and questioning and digging up the seed to see if it has sprouted. Spend it assuming, feeling, persisting. And when the harvest finally comes, it will come in full measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. How long does it take? This is a question many ask, and there is no single answer. Sometimes the manifestation comes almost immediately within days or even hours. Sometimes it takes weeks or months. Sometimes it takes longer. The timing depends on many factors: the depth of your assumption, the naturalness of your feeling, the complexity of the manifestation, the readiness of the circumstances. But the timing does not change the law. The law is absolute. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The only question is when, not if. So do not be discouraged if your 2026 does not transform overnight. Do not lose faith if the first week or the first month does not bring visible results. Keep assuming, keep feeling, keep persisting, and watch. Watch the subtle shifts. Watch the small changes. Watch the way opportunities begin to appear, the way people begin to behave differently. The way circumstances begin to rearrange. The manifestation often comes gradually, piece by piece, like a puzzle assembling itself. And one day, you will look around and realize that everything has changed, that you are living the life you assumed, that your 2026 has become exactly what you felt it to be. Let me now speak about something practical. Many people ask, should I assume one thing at a time or can I assume multiple things? And the answer is this: assume whatever you can feel naturally. If you can hold the feeling of multiple fulfilled desires simultaneously, if you can feel wealthy and healthy and loved and successful all at once, then by all means assume them all. But if trying to assume too much leaves you feeling scattered, if the multiple desires dilute the intensity of your feeling, then focus on one thing at a time. Let that one assumption harden into fact and then move on to the next. There is another approach that many find helpful. Instead of assuming specific outcomes, assume a general state of well-being, of satisfaction, of things being wonderful. Assume the feeling that everything is working out for me. Assume the feeling that 2026 is the best year of my life. This general assumption covers many specific outcomes without requiring you to enumerate them all. It trusts the subconscious to fill in the details in ways that may be even better than you could have imagined. I often recommend this approach to those who are new to the practice. The general assumption of well-being is easy to feel, easy to maintain, and infinitely adaptable. It does not limit the subconscious to specific channels, but allows it to express your good in whatever form is most appropriate. And often the subconscious knows better than the conscious mind what will truly fulfill you. Often the specific thing you think you want is only a symbol for a deeper desire, and the subconscious, given general permission to fulfill you, will bring you the deeper desire rather than merely the symbol. Now let me address the relationship between assumption and action. Many people wonder, if I assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, does that mean I do not have to do anything? Can I just lie in bed and assume and the manifestation will drop into my lap? And the answer requires some nuance. Yes, the assumption is the cause of the manifestation. Yes, the feeling is what impresses the subconscious. Yes, it is the inner work that determines the outer result. But this does not mean you will never take action. It means that your action will flow naturally from your assumption. When you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally inspired to take certain actions, to make certain choices, to move in certain directions. These actions will not feel like struggle. They will feel like the obvious next step. They will feel like what someone in your assumed state would naturally do. The difference is this: when you work from the outside in, your actions are forced, strained, driven by desperation and anxiety. You do things because you hope they will lead to your goal, but you are not sure, and the effort is exhausting. But when you work from the inside out, when your actions flow from an inner assumption of success, they are effortless, natural, guided. You are not trying to make something happen. You are simply being who you have assumed yourself to be, and the actions that arise from that being are perfectly aligned with your desired outcome. So do not use this teaching as an excuse for laziness. Do not use it to justify inaction when action is clearly called for. But also, do not make the mistake of thinking that action is the cause of manifestation. It is not. Assumption is the cause. Action is the channel through which assumption flows into the world. The assumption comes first. The action follows naturally. Let me return now to the subject of feeling, for this is the heart of everything I have taught you tonight. I have said that feeling is the secret, that the subconscious responds to feeling, that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is what you must carry into sleep. But what exactly is this feeling? How do you find it? How do you know when you have it? Let me offer you another way of approaching this. Instead of trying to generate a feeling, try remembering a feeling. Think of a time when something you desired actually came true. It could be anything, large or small, a time when you got what you wanted, when something worked out, when life said yes. Now remember how you felt in that moment. Not the excitement of anticipation, but the quiet satisfaction of realization. Not the thrill of getting, but the peace of having. This feeling, this sense of it is done. It is mine. It is real. This is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now take this feeling and transfer it to your current desire. Without changing the quality of the feeling, simply apply it to what you now want. Feel toward your desired 2026 the same way you felt toward something that actually manifested in your past. You are not generating a new feeling. You are recycling a feeling you already know, applying it to a new object. This can make the practice much easier because you are not trying to create something from nothing. You are simply redirecting something you already possess. Another approach is even simpler. Lie in the drowsy state and simply repeat to yourself with feeling, "It is done. It is wonderful. Thank you." Just these simple words repeated slowly, with feeling, with sincerity, with the sense that you are giving thanks for something that has already happened. It is done. It is wonderful. Thank you. Let these words sink into your consciousness. Let them carry you into sleep. And as you repeat them, notice how they begin to generate a feeling, a quiet sense of completion, of gratitude, of something being settled and finished and real. This is not positive thinking. Positive thinking tries to convince yourself of something you do not believe. This is something different. This is assuming. This is feeling. This is placing your consciousness in the state of the wish fulfilled and resting there, dwelling there, falling asleep there. The words are just an aid. The feeling is the reality. And the subconscious receiving the feeling will bring forth its harvest. Now, let me share one more principle that is essential to your success. The principle is this: do not give power to the evidence of your senses. When you wake tomorrow morning, the outer circumstances of your life may look the same as they did today. The same problems may greet you. The same lacks may seem as real as ever, and the temptation will be strong to conclude that your assumption did not work, that nothing has changed, that you are fooling yourself. Resist this temptation. Do not judge the inner work by the immediate outer appearance. The outer appearance is the solidified past. It is the result of your previous assumptions, your previous feelings, your previous impressions on the subconscious. It takes time for the outer to catch up with the inner. It takes time for the new seeds to grow and push aside the old weeds. If you give power to the outer appearance, if you accept it as the final word on reality, you will undo the work you did the night before. You will plant a new seed of lack and limitation to compete with the seed of fulfillment you planted in sleep. Instead, wake each morning and remember your assumption. Remember the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let it be the first thing you think about, the first feeling you feel. And throughout the day, return to it again and again. When the evidence of your senses tempts you to doubt, return to the assumption. When circumstances seem to contradict your desire, return to the feeling. This is how you persist. This is how you maintain the assumption. This is how you prevent the old state from reasserting itself. Eventually, the outer will conform. Eventually, the evidence of your senses will align with the evidence of your imagination, and when it does, you will know the truth that I have spoken to you tonight. That imagination is the only reality, that the world is a shadow of consciousness, and that you, the one who imagines, are the God of your own experience. I have spoken to you for some time now, and yet I feel there is more to say, for this teaching is not just a technique. It is not just a method for getting what you want. It is a revelation of who you are. When you truly understand what I have shared tonight, you will understand something far greater than how to manifest a better year. You will understand that you are not the limited being you thought you were. You are not the victim of circumstances you cannot control. You are not the product of your past. You are consciousness itself, the creative power of the universe expressed in the form of a human being. This is the great secret that the mystics have guarded through the ages. This is the truth that has been hidden in the symbols and allegories of every religion. You are not seeking God. You are God wearing the mask of a human being, playing the game of forgetting and remembering. And when you remember, when you wake up to who you truly are, everything changes, not because the world changes, but because you change. You see with new eyes. You feel with a new heart. You move through life with a new awareness of your own creative power. This is why I call this teaching the promise as well as the law. The law is the practical application. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and it will manifest. The promise is the mystical revelation. You are God, and one day you will know it not as a concept but as a living experience. The law prepares you for the promise. By using the law, by discovering your own creative power, you gradually awaken to the truth of your divine nature. And when the awakening is complete, you will no longer need techniques or practices. You will simply be what you have always been, the creator of your world, the author of your experience, the God who dreams the dream of life. I do not expect you to accept this immediately. It is too vast, too radical, too far removed from everything the world has taught you. But I plant the seed. I tell you who you are. And one day in this life or another, you will remember, you will awaken, you will look in the mirror and see not a limited human being, but the infinite consciousness wearing a human form, and on that day, you will thank me, not for teaching you a technique, but for reminding you of what you forgot. But for now, for tonight, let us return to the practical. Let us focus on what you can do this very evening. You have a year to create. You have a 2026 to select from among infinite possibilities. You have feelings to choose, assumptions to make, seeds to plant, and the soil of your subconscious is waiting, fertile and receptive, ready to grow whatever you give it. So here is what I invite you to do when this message ends. Do not immediately rush into the next thing. Take a few moments to sit quietly. Think about what you want your 20,126 to be, not in vague generalities, but in specific feelings. How do you want to feel at the end of next year? What state of consciousness do you want to inhabit? What would it feel like to look back on 2026 and say, that was the best year of my life? And as you contemplate this, begin to feel it. Not someday, not eventually, but now. Begin to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled right now in this moment, wherever you are. Let the feeling become familiar to you. Let it become something you can return to easily, naturally, without effort. This is your preparation for tonight. This is how you prime the pump for the sleep that is to come. And then when you go to bed tonight, carry that feeling with you. Lie down in the darkness. Let your body relax. Let your mind grow quiet. Feel the drowsy state beginning to take hold. And in that threshold state, in that doorway between worlds, assume the feeling of your fulfilled 2026. Hold it gently. Rest in it, peacefully, and let it carry you into sleep. Do this tonight. Do it tomorrow night. Do it every night until the feeling becomes as natural as breathing. And watch what happens. Watch as the year unfolds. Watch as circumstances shift, as opportunities appear, as the world rearranges itself to conform to your assumption. And when you see it happening, when you have proof in your own experience that the law is real, share this teaching with someone else. Pass the key to someone who is ready. Help another person discover what you have discovered. This is how the world changes, not through politics or economics or any outer rearrangement. The world changes through the awakening of individuals, one by one, each discovering their own creative power, each taking responsibility for the world they are creating. You are one of these individuals. You are awakening, you are discovering, and the world you create from this awakening will be a better world. Not just for you, but for everyone whose life touches yours. I thank you for listening. I thank you for being here, wherever here is for you. I thank you for taking this teaching into your heart, and not just your head. And I wish for you, with all the power of my own assumption, the most wonderful 2026 imaginable. May your seeds grow. May your harvests be abundant. May you discover through your own experience that everything I have said is true. The door is always open. The teaching is always available, and the power is always within you waiting to be claimed. Go now. The night awaits. And within that night, the seed of your new year is ready to be planted. It is finished, it is wonderful, and it is yours. And yet, before I truly close, let me leave you with a few more thoughts that have been stirring in my heart. For I know that some of you will take what I have said tonight and transform your lives. You will assume the feeling, you will persist, and you will see the harvest. But others among you will struggle. You will try and feel that you are failing. You will wonder what you are doing wrong. And I want to speak to you now, to those who will face this struggle. If you find that the feeling does not come easily, do not despair. The feeling is a skill, and like any skill, it develops with practice. The first time you tried to walk, you fell. The first time you tried to speak, your words were garbled. The first time you tried to write, your letters were crooked and uncertain. But you persisted, not because you were certain of success, but because something within you knew that walking and speaking and writing were possible, were natural, were your birthright. Treat the feeling of the wish fulfilled the same way. It may not come easily at first, but it will come with practice, with patience, with gentle persistence. The feeling will become as natural as any other ability you have mastered. And do not judge your progress by comparing yourself to others. Some people find this practice easy from the very beginning. For them, feeling the wish fulfilled is as natural as breathing. Others must work at it, must practice, must develop the skill over time. Neither is better than the other. The one who struggles and overcomes may ultimately have a deeper understanding of the law than the one for whom it came easily. The journey is yours alone. Walk it at your own pace, and do not be discouraged by the pace of others. Let me also address those who have tried this in the past and felt that it failed. Perhaps you assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, but the manifestation did not come. Perhaps you persisted for weeks or months, only to give up in disappointment. Perhaps you concluded that you were doing something wrong or that the law does not work for you. I ask you to consider another possibility. Perhaps the manifestation did come, but not in the form you expected. Perhaps the subconscious, knowing you better than you know yourself, brought you something different from what you assumed. Something that actually served you better. Something that answered the deeper desire behind the specific wish. The subconscious is wise. It does not always give us the literal thing we assume. Sometimes it gives us what we truly need, what will truly fulfill us, even if it looks different from what we thought we wanted. Or perhaps the assumption did not persist long enough. Perhaps the seed was planted, but you dug it up too soon, looking for evidence of sprouting before the roots had a chance to form. Perhaps you held the feeling for a week, then let doubt consume you for a month, then tried again, then doubted again. This inconsistency prevents the assumption from hardening into fact. The law requires persistence, not just effort. It requires that you return to the feeling again and again, not once or twice, but night after night, until the feeling is so much a part of you that doubt cannot touch it. Or perhaps, and this is the hardest possibility to accept, the assumption did work perfectly and completely, but you were assuming something other than what you thought you were assuming. Perhaps your lips said, "I am wealthy," but your heart felt the anxiety of poverty. Perhaps your mind imagined success, but your body carried the tension of failure. The subconscious responds to feeling, not to words or images. If the feeling did not match the words, if the heart did not match the lips, the subconscious received the feeling and manifested accordingly. This is why I emphasize the feeling so strongly. This is why I tell you that the visualization and the affirmation are only means to the feeling, and that if the feeling is not present, the means are worthless. Check your feeling. Honestly examine what you actually feel when you assume the wish fulfilled. If there is doubt beneath the assumption, if there is fear beneath the faith, the subconscious will receive the doubt and the fear and manifest them instead. This is not punishment. This is simply the way the law works. The subconscious is completely faithful. It gives you what you feel without exception. So if you have tried and felt that you failed, try again. But this time focus entirely on the feeling. Do not worry about the visualization. Do not worry about the words. Simply ask yourself, how would I feel if it were done? And let yourself sink into that feeling purely and completely without any mixture of doubt or fear. If doubt arises, acknowledge it and let it pass. Do not fight it, but do not feed it either. Simply return to the feeling and keep returning night after night until the feeling is so strong that doubt cannot enter. I want to speak also about the relationship between this teaching and the circumstances of your waking life. Some have asked, if imagination is the only reality, does that mean the outer world does not matter? Should I ignore what is happening around me? Should I pretend that difficulties do not exist? No, I am not asking you to deny the evidence of your senses or to pretend that challenges are not real. I am asking you to recognize the nature of these challenges. They are not fixed, permanent, unchangeable realities. They are the shadows of past assumptions, the harvest of previous seeds, the children of former feelings. They are real in the sense that they exist and have effects, but they are not ultimate. They are not the last word. They can be changed, must be changed, will be changed when you change the assumptions that created them. So do not ignore your circumstances. Acknowledge them. Deal with them as needed. But do not give them the power to define your future. Do not let the evidence of the present moment become the assumption for the next moment. The old way of living is to react to circumstances and let circumstances shape your feelings. The new way, the way I am teaching you, is to assume a feeling and let the feeling shape your circumstances. You are not denying the outer world. You are simply recognizing its true nature as a shadow of the inner world. And you are learning to change the shadow by changing the light that casts it. Now let me close with a final truth, a truth that underlies everything I have said. The reason this teaching works, the reason assumption hardens into fact, the reason feeling creates reality is because you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that power expressed in individual form. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not asking some external God to grant your request. You are being the God that you are. You are exercising the creative power that is your very nature. This is the deepest meaning of the teaching I have given you tonight. It is not just a technique for getting what you want. It is a recognition of who you are. You are not a limited being struggling to survive in a hostile universe. You are the creative consciousness that brought the universe into being, temporarily wearing the mask of limitation in order to have certain experiences. And when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are remembering your true nature. You are stepping out of the mask, even if only for a moment, and being what you have always been. This is what it means to be God. Not to have unlimited power in the world of limitations, but to be the consciousness that imagines worlds into being. When you assume, you are creating. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you are exercising your divine nature, and the manifestation that follows is simply consciousness recognizing itself in form. I know this is vast. I know it is perhaps too much to absorb in one listening. But I plant the seed. I speak the truth. And the truth once heard cannot be unheard. It will work within you even when you are not thinking about it. It will surface at unexpected moments, bringing insights and realizations. It will gradually transform your understanding of who you are and what life is. And one day, perhaps tomorrow, perhaps next year, perhaps in some distant future, you will know with absolute certainty that what I have told you is true, not because I told you, but because you have experienced it for yourself. Until that day, practice what I have taught you. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Plant the seeds of your desired 226 in the fertile soil of sleep. Persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact, and watch as your life transforms. As circumstances shift, as the world you have known dissolves and a new world takes its place, a world of your own imagining, a world born from the depths of your own consciousness. If these words have resonated with you tonight, if you have felt something stir within you, I invite you to leave a note below. Tell me what you will assume tonight. Share your intention with me and with others who are walking this path. When we assume together, when we hold the same feeling of transformation and awakening, we create a field of consciousness that supports each individual's effort. And if you have found value in what I have shared, if you want to hear more of these teachings, press the button that tells this strange machine, you are here, you are listening, you are ready for more. Subscribe to this channel so that future messages will find you. Share this with someone you love, someone who is ready to hear, someone who is struggling and needs to know that there is a way out, a door that leads to a different life. The world needs awakened individuals. The world needs people who know the truth I have spoken tonight. The world needs creators, not victims. And you, having heard this teaching, are called to be one of these creators, not by preaching or converting, but simply by living it, by demonstrating it, by being the change you wish to see. Go now to your sleep. Go with the feeling of the wish fulfilled burning in your heart. Go knowing that you are not alone, that countless others are falling asleep at this very moment with the same intention, the same assumption, the same faith in the creative power of imagination. Sleep well, dream well, and wake to a world transformed. It is finished. It is wonderful, and it is yours. Thank you.